Are we filming? Yes, we are. So welcome to another video. This is a review of sorts. But before I open this and show you this, which is made by, or presumably on behalf of, Aquascutum back in the day, let me just briefly tell you who Aquascutum are. You can look them up. Started in 1851 by a tailor here in Regent Street, Mayfair, London. I think their store has moved recently, but for many decades their main store was in Regent Street, so quite a posh and iconic brand. And they were among a number of brands, fashion houses, if you like Hermes, for instance, or Mulberry, who made, or who I guess jumped on the filofax bandwagon, if you can call it that, at the time, and you know, made fashionable notebook covers or ring binders. And this is an Aquascutum ring binder. Let's have a look at it. If I can just zoom in. Okay, so here we go. So, and I'll explain it why it's slightly lopsided in a moment, but there we go. Aquascutum. Actually quite nicely done. The stitching is fabulous, as you might expect with like a premium accessory seller. Very nice. Leather smells absolutely gorgeous, and it's a tiny little thing. It's a tiny little thing. When it comes to size, let me just show you this. So I'll zoom out. So on the left we have the Aquascutum, and on the right we have the smallest filofax ever made, which is the Guildford Mini Extra Slim. And look at the difference. It is tiny. A massive difference, so much shorter. Let's compare the width. Well, the width is identical, but the height is actually considerably different. But it's okay. It is okay, because you can fit either filofax mini-sized inserts. They will fit in it. This is what it came with. They're a little bit smaller than the filofax mini inserts, but the filofax mini insert size will fit perfectly without any overlap. And you could potentially, regular viewers will know I like to cut my own in A7, so make 8 A7 sheets from a single A4 sheet, and then on these I'll just trim down here so that it fits the rings okay, and this will fit with a little bit of overlap. But the main thing is this is microscopic compared to even the smallest filofax ever made, and the observant amongst you will have spotted a difference. Look at that. 3 rings, not 5, 3 rings. Big question is, are they compatible? Yes, they are. So you can get away with a 3-ring as a filofax binder, if you like, for filofax inserts, or make your own. It's okay. But let's have a look at the inside, because this is, I would say, I mean, it's an overused term, but I would say this is exquisite workmanship, and let me show you why. Okay, so first of all, we have, it says Aquascutum London, and then it says made, can you see that? Made in Italy. I'm not sure about the the ring binder mechanism. It doesn't have a Krauss label, but as I understand it, some Krauss ring binder mechanisms don't have the Krauss logo on them, but they are very, very nice. They're very, very nice. Fairly stiff, but that's okay. That is okay in the grand scheme of things. It might be because it's been in a drawer for years and years and years. I don't know. I don't know when this was made, but probably, like many of these binders, they were made in the early 80s to sort of capitalise on the filofax boom at the time, and then certainly some companies have carried on, but others have dropped this kind of ring binder accessory when their popularity started to wane, I guess. But I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know what happened here, but I can't find anything like this online. I just saw this on eBay and I thought, do you know what? I'm so curious. I'm going to get it anyway, and I'm glad I did, really. But if you look at the, I mean, this is a really nice. This is the fabric that is very, very commonly associated with the brand. As you know, a quick look at their website, and you'll see this check pattern everywhere. I think it's actually overused, a bit like the Burberry thing. Burberry had a check design, didn't they, and still do, but it became a little bit, shall we say, overused when young chaps were hanging around causing mischief, and they all wore Burberry caps. It's there's a risk of a brand being harmed by the overuse of a particular material. So they're using it as an identifier, but that can be a problem if that identifier becomes devalued, diluted in the marketplace. You know what I'm talking about. So I don't know the case for this, but anyway, I do like it. I do like this fabric because, as you know, I am very, very keen. I've expressed this view to Filofax, the fact that this is my Guildford Mini Extra Slim, as you know, and what I've done is I've cut out the pockets and removed as best I can all the sort of flaky material. You can see here I've left some here, so you can see I can just scrape it off with my fingers and it comes off in bits. And I would personally, if anyone from Filofax is looking at this, why bother going to great lengths to add like a layer of faux leather or fake leather, when you could just put a simple bit of material here and it looks neat and tidy. And although I'm not criticising Filofax, it's just a comparison. You look at this. I mean, I quite like this. I think this Guildford Mini Extra Slim is well made. But if you look at the Aquascutum model, which made in Italy, probably was made in Italy rather than made in China and then shipped to Italy just to have it stamped with the brand name. I mean, who knows? This is something that people are talking about in the news today, in fact, because of all the complications with tariffs. Hopefully, if you watch this in 2009 or 2009, then tariffs will have settled down, and we can get on with global trade in a calmer manner. But certainly it's in the news today. But if you look at this, the difference is stark. This looks good on its own, But when you compare it to something like this Aquascutum, I mean, the corners are exquisitely made, and the Guilford Mini Extra Slim, which arguably is one of the better made filofaxes I've ever come across, looks a bit rough, really. But it's an interesting comparison, I think. But let's carry on with this, because the more I look at it, the more I like it. Very, very nice stitching. And there's this pen loop. Now, I do not like internal pen loops, inward facing pen loops, as you know. This one doesn't look as if it's being actually used in anger. I did try and fit a standard filofax pen in, but it didn't work. But you can see that I don't think this has ever been used, but it looks like it could probably fit a pen in. Well, it's okay. There we go. Pencil, and it's tight. It's tight, but you know, I suspect it is. There we go. I pulled it all the way through. I expect that will open up with use, and almost certainly take a standard size pen, which means you could fit something like a Tom Studio Mini Lumos, which is more or less my favourite tiny pen. But there we go. I don't know whether it would affect the. I don't know whether it would affect the actual inserts. Let's have a look. So these are the mini size inserts, Aquascutum's own, if you like. And yes, they would, as you close it, this would it be right on the limit. And so if I used A7 paper, it would be. Let me open this up a bit. You could see that the pen, you're going to have to make a decision. And my decision would be to not have anything there. I might even cut this off, but I'm leaving it on there because it's flush. It's laying flat. It's not going to affect it. And I might sell this in the future, so I don't want to butcher it by removing anything. But if you look at this, it is. If you could potentially trim them as a custom fit or just leave them like this, but this is A7. This height is A7. I haven't trimmed the top and bottom. I have trimmed it here by about 2 or 3 millimeters because otherwise you get a bit of a traffic jam when you open and shut it, when you turn over the pages. But for me it works. I use this size A7 in all my mini binders, and this is no exception. It could work like this as a notebook with A7, so that's what I would do. I would not buy specific mini inserts for this if I was using it, and I might add this. I might try this. I change my binders. Every few days I change, typically a mini size one and a personal size one. They're the two that I use in anger every single day. And I might add this Aquascutum to the list. I don't think I'm risking it having the three rings. It's compatible. It's compatible, and for the purposes of science, as it were, I'm happy to do that, because all these pieces of A7 are not archive they're not I don't intend to archive them. It's just quick notes that I can store and discard in the form of a to-do list and a diary, basically. So am I going to use this? Well, I'll tell you what, I actually think the quality is sensational, and I have said that with a few binders. But this is quality on an entirely new level. I have come across 2 or 3 binders where the stitching and the leather, and if we must mention the flatability, which is perfect, isn't it? Look at that. Partly because of the thinness of the leather and the quality of the construction, the choice of leather is fantastic. It really smells. I mean, this is, I don't know the history of this, because obviously it's maybe 30 years old, maybe 40 years old, but it's just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. One thing that I might have to do though, let me show you this. If I take the paper out, you will notice that this has, if I zoom in, it has it's slightly skew width. It doesn't align properly, and I don't know whether this is literally from the factory, as it were, but if you look at the way if you look at the position where this has been clamped, so you can see where a pair of pliers has been applied round the metal, and it's clamped. It's a 2-piece, and it's a clamp, very similar to modern day binders. But there we go. But it's slightly to that side rather than this side. So it's clamped in the slightly wrong position. Now, I don't want to rip the leather by just forcing it, but this needs to move slightly to the left. This one here, the top one, seems to be in the middle, but this one here is slightly to the right. So it's not going to affect the use at all, but it's just slightly annoying. And I just wonder whether this is a replacement, possibly, that someone's fitted, but I've not actually seen one of these. I did have a 3-ring M2, which I've still got, but I believe this is it's much taller. It's the full size, the full height of a binder. Let's compare it to my 5-ring in my Guildford Mini Extra Slim, and you can see that it's shorter. It is shorter, isn't it? So this is an interesting one, but I don't want to muck about with it just in case it breaks and I can't get another one easily. But it is exquisite, and if you want to go minimalist, and you want to go to extremes, and you're not satisfied with the smallest filofax that the brand has ever made, then this very, very minimalist, very high quality, lovely thing from Aquascutum back in the day could float your boat. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. As always, leave comments and I'll do my best to I reply to most comments, but also let me know if you liked this video, and if you're interested in some more videos that I think you might like, then I'll put them on the screen now for you. Thanks very much for watching, and until my next video, goodbye.